Social media has changed, and there are 3 things you need to know if you want to get better results and create more effective, higher converting, and more profitable social media marketing campaigns for you, your business, or any business you want to apply this to. First, you need to understand and work with the engagement evolution. Ignore this or get it wrong, and it doesn't matter how smart or funny or creative your social media campaigns are, they're just not going to work. Next is something called attention availability that every single social media platform out there ever lives and dies by. But don't worry if you've never heard of this before. Most haven't. So I'll show you exactly what it means and how to use it to your advantage to get more reach, more engagement, more traffic, more followers, more customers, and more sales than ever before. And lastly, I want to show you a little trick I use called the 10% rule and how to apply it not just to your social media, but to all of your marketing and advertising going forward from this day on. So with that said, let me show you how it's done, starting with the all-important engagement evolution. When I first started marketing over 10 years ago now, blogging and having an SEO or search engine optimized blog was the key to success. This is because Google was the primary traffic driver for most businesses out there, and having a high ranking website or blog was a virtual guaranteed payday. And I remember taking countless courses on blogging and keyword research and writing and content marketing and WordPress hosting and basically everything and anything that went into running a successful blog. And it worked amazing until it didn't. See, what happened is that as more and more social media platforms started coming onto the scene, it started to change consumer behavior and content consumption patterns, basically how people engage with and consume different kinds of content online and offline, which meant that I needed to pivot. And so I did. First to Twitter, where I built up a decent following and managed to make a few sales and get a few customers. And then I took what I learned from Twitter and applied it to Facebook. And really, it just comes down to watching and listening and trying to tap into what's already working and then just finding a way to do it better or different. I then took that and applied it to YouTube, which in my opinion is still the best place to grow a business and build an audience, although I do appreciate there is that obvious barrier to entry of having to create videos, which, well, some people find interesting and intriguing, other people find terrifying and totally overwhelming. Fortunately though, there is another option, and it's one that you probably haven't heard talked about all that much, certainly not recently, and that option is Facebook. Yeah, Facebook, not Instagram, maybe TikTok. YouTube is a slam dunk if you can swing it, but definitely Facebook. Now, it's probably been a minute since you've last posted on your Facebook business page, so start there. And the reason that Facebook is so good right now and really well positioned to only just keep getting better in the next little bit has to do with my next point, which is attention availability. So let me show you what that means now and how you can take advantage of it. Attention availability is about identifying the channels, the platforms, and the networks that are offering a disproportionate amount of reach and engagement and attention compared to other options. But I appreciate that's a totally confusing explanation, so here's what it means in more simple terms and when related to social media success. But first, a quick warning. This next part's gonna seem a little cold and capitalistic. Talking about your followers and customers and audience, you know, real people, like they're some kind of asset and their attention is a commodity that you can buy and sell on an open market. But those are the terms we have to work with, so let's dive in. At any given point of time, there's a group of people out there that you could attract and engage with and potentially sell to. In marketing, we call this a TAM, which stands for total addressable market. And the entry point to this market all starts by first getting someone's attention. So basically, your market's attention is the main resource that you're after, and so is everybody else. And we're going to call this attention demand. Very fancy economic term. But if it still sounds a bit confusing, don't worry, it'll all make sense in a minute. The second part of this equation is figuring out where your market is present and active, online and offline. In other words, where are they putting their attention? And there are only so many places that their attention can go these days. And we're gonna call this supply, another fancy economic term. So what we're gonna do next is take those fancy terms of supply and demand and plot them out on a fancy economics graph known as supply and demand, which, aside from being probably one of the most important business and marketing concepts of all time, it's also incredibly helpful at showing you exactly where to get a bigger bang for your marketing buck when it comes to different social media platforms. More on that in just a minute. First though, as I was talking about earlier, one of the places that your market used to go in order to get information and to connect with other people and to engage and interact with businesses was primarily blogs and websites. Then it evolved and went through different social media platforms. But even before all of that, there was TV and radio and the newspaper. And if you want to go back even further, like 1,000 years ago, well, there was even the town crier, whose job was to walk around town yelling the news out at people. But today, most of the attention that we're after can be found on social media. And the key to taking advantage of attention availability is to figure out which social platforms are offering kind of a metaphorical 2-for-1 attention coupon. In other words, where you can get twice the amount of attention for the same amount of work when compared to other platforms. And recently, the platforms that are giving the biggest ROI or return on investment for the work that you're putting in, well, they've changed. They've changed in a very big way. The kind of reach and engagement a social media platform is able to offer its users comes down to 3 main things. First, the amount of organic content its users post on the platform. Think of this as anything and everything that anyone and everyone out there posts on a daily basis, from pictures of their kids and friends and pets and what they had for lunch, to more business-focused stuff like offers and promotions and announcements or events. The next variable is the amount of paid advertising present on the platform. This is how the social media platforms make their money, so it's not going away. Ever. But they also need to walk that fine line between showing enough ads to make their billions while simultaneously not annoying people with ad after ad after ad. And these first 2 things, organic and paid content, fall under the category of supply, or in other words, how much space is available on the platform. The other variable is how many people are on the platform in order to consume all this content, and they fall under the category of demand. This is why, if you're able to identify the social media platforms and channels with less supply, in other words, less organic or paid content, and increased demand, in other words, more people, your content has a far greater chance of being shown to more people, with basically no additional work on your part. And right now, due to the economic environment, changes in consumer behavior, brand and business strategies evolving, well, there's been a decrease in both organic and paid content on Facebook, which leaves a gap open for you, an opportunity to create stuff there and have it shown to more people than any other platform. Contrast this with Instagram, where thanks to an initial push for Instagram Reels and a massively saturated platform, and the reverse is taking place, an increased level of supply, which pushes demand down. Now, of course, this is a pretty simplified version of what's going on, and there are other economic and algorithmic factors at play. Is algorithmic a word? But the key here is to really always be looking for those areas with more demand than supply. Of course, this brings up the next point and the next most important question, which is how do you capitalize on all of this unmet demand without driving yourself crazy and jumping right into the deep end, having to create 500 pieces of new content every day? And the secret there is to use what I call the 10% rule. Also, while this video today is not sponsored, it is supported by those of you who have signed up for the Digital Marketing Academy. You can check out the link in the descriptions below, and thanks so much for your support. As crazy as this is gonna sound, a long time ago I figured out a way to tap into a literally never-ending marketing budget and the ability to grow any business to any size that I wanted. So here's how I did it. Back a decade or so ago, when I was starting my very first marketing agency, and I, like most new agencies, needed to find a way to get new clients. I did the usual stuff that everybody was suggesting at the time, the local networking, the outreach, the prospecting. I wrote blog articles like I already mentioned and ranked them with SEO, which worked pretty well, but I also did advertising. At first, I was just spending a couple dollars a day, just really to test it out and to see what worked and what didn't, and if this was just a complete waste of my time and money. But very quickly, I figured out that I was able to take these ads and turn them into 1 new client, and then 2, and then 5, and then 10, and then 20. And somewhere along the line, someone much smarter than me told me that I should be taking 10 to 20% of my revenue and reinvesting that back into my business, back into my marketing, and back into my advertising. This in turn would enable me to fund and fuel my marketing and my business growth, which would in turn allow me to build a bigger and better business, but it would also allow me to essentially increase my marketing budget at a manageable rate. And over time, this would become a significant competitive advantage. Let me show you why this is such game-changing advice. Let's say that you make a commitment to invest 10% of your revenue back into your marketing. Well, if you're making $5K a month, that's $500 each month, which is no small number, but it's enough to do some serious damage. Maybe get a course, run some ads, attend a conference or seminar. And you can do this every single month. And if you invest it wisely and keep putting it towards your business, that $5K per month in revenue can grow to $10K per month very quickly. And now 10% of that gives you $1,000 each month for marketing, which can help you grow to $50K a month, where you now have $5K per month for marketing and can hire a team or some support, which can get you you to 100K a month, where you now have 10K per month for marketing. And this basically creates a gap between you and everyone else in your space, as most businesses are not investing that kind of money back into their business. The key is starting where you are, right here, right now, and then building and scaling up from there. I've gone ahead and linked up a video right here with 7 of my absolute best marketing strategies, so make sure to check it out, and I'll see you in the next video. For somebody to make a purchase decision, for someone to take action and actually buy from you, they need around 7 touch points, 7 engagements, 7 interactions with your brand.